A man drove 106 miles, and the whole trip cost him $3.50. That was 10 years ago in a normal American car anyone could buy. 106 miles per gallon, and the government put that number on the sticker. Then, in 2019, the company that built it shut it down and walked away. Now, in 2026, that exact technology is the most wanted thing in the car industry. Ram just bet its future on it. Ford is chasing it. And a Chinese automaker set a world record with it and got called a genius for something America built, sold, and threw in the trash. Let's start with the news, because that's where this whole story exploded back open. In April of 2026, a Chinese automaker called Geely did something that made engineers in Detroit go quiet. They certified an engine with a thermal efficiency of 48.41%, and then they had Guinness World Records verify a test run where one of their hybrid sedans used just 2.22 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. Translate that into numbers an American driver understands, and it comes out to roughly 106 miles per gallon. For comparison, the famously efficient Toyota Prius managed about 93 on the same kind of run. Geely blew past it. That number, 106 miles per gallon, went around the world, headlines everywhere. Proof, people said, that China had leapt ahead on the fundamental technology of the automobile, the engine itself. It was framed as a wake-up call for the West. China had cracked the code. Except here's the part that got buried under all the noise. An American car earned that exact same number, 106 miles per gallon, from federal government testers more than 10 years ago. And America walked away from it. Geely didn't crack a code. They picked up something Detroit had already built, already proven, already sold to the public, and then abandoned. To understand why that's so staggering, you have to understand what that American car actually was. The car America forgot. The car was the Chevrolet Volt. And most people, even people who love cars, have completely forgotten how far ahead of its time it really was. Here's how it worked, because the idea is the key to this entire story. The second-generation Volt, sold from 2016 to 2019, had a battery pack you charged at home, and that battery alone could drive the car about 53 miles on pure electricity. For a huge number of Americans, that covers the entire daily commute without burning a single drop of gasoline. General Motors said 90% of all Volt trips were done on electricity alone. But, and this is the genius part, when the battery ran low, you didn't stop. You didn't hunt for a charger. A small 1.5-liter gasoline engine woke up, and its main job wasn't to drive the wheels at all. Its job was to spin a generator and make electricity, feeding the electric motors that moved the car. You got the smoothness and quiet of an electric car with zero range anxiety, because the second the battery got low, the gas engine quietly kicked in and kept you rolling for a total of over 400 miles. Electric car around town, normal car on a road trip. No compromise, no waiting, no charger hunting. And the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the federal government, rated that car at 106 miles per gallon equivalent, not Chevrolet's marketing department. Federal testers on the official window sticker in a showroom a decade ago. One reviewer drove 106 miles in a Volt and burned exactly 1 gallon of gas, plus about $1.50 of home electricity. The whole trip cost around $3.50. And think about what that actually meant in daily life. If your commute was under 50 miles, which describes most Americans, you could go weeks, even months, without ever buying gasoline. You just plugged in at home overnight, like a phone. But when the holidays came and you had to drive 500 miles to see family, you didn't plan your route around charging stations or sweat the battery gauge. You just drove, stopped at a normal gas station for 5 minutes when you needed to, and kept going. It solved the single biggest fear people have about electric cars, getting stranded, completely and elegantly, back in 2016. It started at about $34,000. It won awards. It worked. And in 2019, General Motors killed it, which raises the obvious question. If it was that good, why is it gone? Why Detroit threw it away? Because here's the uncomfortable answer, and it explains everything about where the industry is right now. The Volt didn't die because it failed. It died because the industry convinced itself the future was somewhere else entirely. Think back to where the car world's head was around 2018 and 2019. Tesla was soaring. The story everyone in the industry told themselves, told investors, told the public, was simple and absolute. The future is fully electric, batteries only. Everything else is the past. In that story, a car that still had a gas engine in it, no matter how clever, looked like a compromise, a half measure, a stepping stone nobody wanted to be caught standing on when the music stopped. So the Volt got caught in the middle. It was a bit expensive for its size. It was a compact car in a country falling in love with SUVs and trucks. And it carried a gas engine at the exact moment the entire industry decided gas engines were the enemy. General Motors looked at that, decided pure electric was the only destination worth chasing, retired the Volt's tooling, reassigned the engineers, and moved on. The message was clear. This idea is finished. The future doesn't need it. They could not have been more wrong, because the fully electric future everybody bet on ran headfirst into reality. The chargers weren't there. The prices stayed high. Buyers got nervous about range on long trips, about charging times, about what happens on a road trip through the middle of nowhere. Electric pickup trucks, in particular, landed with a thud because towing and hauling drains a battery terrifyingly fast. And slowly, the industry started to realize something. The thing customers actually wanted wasn't a pure electric car, and it wasn't an old gas car. It was something in between. Exactly the thing General Motors had already built and buried, the great reversal. Watch how fast the entire industry has turned around, because it is genuinely stunning once you line it up. Start with Ram. Ram had a fully electric pickup truck planned and ready, the all-electric Ram 1500. And in a decision that shocked the industry, Stellantis, Ram's parent company, canceled it, killed the pure electric truck. And in its place, they put their bets on a truck called the Ram 1500 REV, which uses, and I want you to appreciate this, the exact same architecture as the Chevy Volt. A big battery that drives the wheels electrically, and a gasoline V6 that exists only to generate electricity when the battery runs low. The numbers are enormous. A 92 kilowatt-hour battery gives it around 145 miles of pure electric range. And when the gas generator fires up, total range climbs to roughly 690 miles. It tows up to 14,000 pounds, the kind of work a pure electric truck struggles with. It's set to enter production in the second half of this year at a plant in Michigan, making it the first American range-extended pickup of this new era. Ram walked away from pure electric and walked straight back to the Volt's playbook. And they're not alone, not even close. There's a new American brand called Scout Motors, backed by Volkswagen, building trucks and SUVs in South Carolina. They offer their vehicles two ways, fully electric or with a range extender they call Harvester, which is again the Volt's idea, a gas engine that only makes electricity. And here's the number that every executive in Detroit noticed. The CEO of Scout said that roughly 85% of their reservation holders, the people putting down real money, chose the range-extended version over the pure electric one. 85%. That is the American customer telling the entire industry in the clearest possible language what they actually want. Then look around at everyone else. Stellantis has confirmed a whole pipeline of range-extended vehicles, including large SUVs. Ford has publicly pivoted toward this exact architecture for its future trucks. General Motors, the company that invented and then killed the Volt, has said plug-in powertrains are coming back in 2027. Nissan is bringing a version of this idea to its best-selling SUV. One after another, the giants are reversing course and rebuilding the machine America already had. An entire industry executing a screeching U-turn back toward a car that's been dead since 2019. But to understand why this idea is so powerful that it forced a whole industry to backtrack, you have to look at what it does to the engine itself, because that's where it gets genuinely wild. Why the engine itself is having a renaissance. Now here's the deeper part of the story, the part that makes this more than just one clever car coming back. Because while the world was busy arguing about batteries, a small group of engineers never stopped working on the gas engine itself, and they've been quietly breaking it open in ways that were supposed to be impossible. See, the reason the Volt's idea is suddenly so powerful is that it changes the engine's entire job. In a normal car, the engine has to do something almost impossible well. It has to be efficient when you're crawling in traffic and when you're flooring it onto a highway and everything in between. An engine can only be at its absolute best in a narrow sweet spot, and almost nobody drives in that sweet spot. But in a range extender setup like the Volt's, the engine has exactly one job: sit at its single most efficient speed and make electricity. It never has to chase your right foot, and when you free an engine from having to do everything, you can make it astonishingly good at the one thing it does. And that's where a wave of American engineering comes in, and some of it sounds like science fiction. A company in San Diego called Achates revived a forgotten design where each cylinder has two pistons that slam together face to face with no cylinder head and no valves at all. Hundreds of parts just deleted. It hit a thermal efficiency north of 49% and ran in a Walmart delivery truck on real California highways. Cummins, the legendary engine maker in Indiana, pushed a diesel to 55% efficiency by capturing the scorching exhaust heat and turning it back into power, essentially a tiny steam plant on the tailpipe. To put that in perspective, a normal car engine turns only about a quarter to a third of your fuel into actual motion. The rest is wasted as heat. These engineers are nearly doubling that. And it gets stranger. A company in California called Mainspring threw away the crankshaft entirely, the spinning heart of every engine for a century, replacing it with magnets that fly back and forth in a straight line, making electricity directly. It's already powering data centers today. But here's the thread that ties every one of these back to our story. Notice what almost all of them are really doing. They're not building engines to drive wheels anymore. They're building engines to make electricity. And that is exactly the job the Chevy Volt handed its engine 10 years ago. The engine isn't dead. It's being reinvented right now, mostly by Americans, and the Volt's range extender idea is the thing that finally lets all this brilliance reach your driveway. But it raises a question. If all of this is possible, why is it happening now, in this decade, and not 40 years ago? Why this is all happening right now? The answer is a paradox that trapped engineers for a century. To make an engine more efficient, you squeeze the fuel and air harder before you burn it. But squeeze too hard, and the mixture explodes early and violently, hammering the engine to pieces. That single problem capped engine efficiency for generations. And on top of it sat that second issue we mentioned, that an engine is only near its best when it's working hard, and almost nobody drives that way. A few things finally broke the deadlock at roughly the same time. Fuel injection that sprays at insane pressures, so fuel burns cleanly even under huge compression. Electric motors that got cheap, light, and reliable enough to actually drive the wheels. And most importantly, battery cells that got affordable enough to act as a buffer, so the engine no longer has to chase your right foot at all. That last one is the whole ballgame. The moment a battery can handle the messy stop-and-go part of driving, the engine is free to do the one thing it's brilliant at: sit at a single perfect setting and hum. And that is precisely the Chevy Volt's idea, which is why a decade-old dead car is suddenly the blueprint the entire industry is fighting to copy. What this actually means for you. So let's make this practical, because this shift changes what you should think about the next time you buy a vehicle. First, the pure electric versus gas argument you've been having for years is quietly being replaced by a third answer that beats both for a lot of people. A range-extended vehicle gives you electric driving for your daily life, most of your miles never touching gasoline, and full gas station convenience for road trips and towing. No range anxiety, no waiting at a charger on a holiday weekend, no compromise. For a huge number of American drivers, especially truck and SUV buyers, this is genuinely the best of both worlds, and it's arriving on dealer lots starting this year. Second, if you've been holding off on going electric because you're nervous about charging or long trips, This is the technology worth waiting for. You get to plug in at home and drive on cheap electricity most of the time, but you never have to reorganize a road trip around finding a charger. The gas engine is your safety net, and it barely ever has to run. And third, here's the one nobody says out loud. If a used Chevy Volt is sitting on a lot near you, understand what it actually is. It's a car that does the thing every automaker is now racing to sell you, and it's been doing it since 2016, often for well under $20,000 used. The technology America forgot is still out there, quietly running in the cars it already built. The mistake and what comes next. So step back and look at the whole picture, because it's kind of extraordinary. America built a car that did 106 miles per gallon. The government certified it, customers bought it, and the industry killed it because it was so convinced the future was pure electric that it couldn't see. The answer was already sitting in its own showrooms. Then the pure electric future arrived slower and messier than anyone promised. Customers balked. Trucks especially didn't work as pure EVs. And now, one by one, Ram, Scout, Ford, General Motors, and even overseas giants like Geely are all racing to rebuild the exact machine Detroit had a decade ago. The Chinese world record that shocked everyone in 2026 was, in truth, America's own abandoned idea, handed to someone who didn't throw it away. That is what actually blows up an industry. Not a brand new invention nobody had thought of, something far more embarrassing. The discovery that the answer everyone is now scrambling for was built, proven, and sold years ago and then thrown in the bin because it didn't fit the story the industry wanted to tell. And there's a bigger lesson buried in it, one that goes beyond cars. America didn't lose this technology because it couldn't build it. It had the best version in the world. It lost its lead because it got so certain about one single vision of the future that it stopped hedging, stopped keeping its options open, and killed a proven winner to chase a story. By the time reality arrived, a competitor on the other side of the planet was setting world records with the very idea America abandoned. The engine was never finished. It was just waiting for everyone else to catch up to what a few American engineers already knew, and then quietly walked away from. The 100-mile-per-gallon family vehicle isn't a question of if anymore. It's already happened once. The only real question now is which badge is on the hood when it comes back for good, and whether the company that invented this idea, then killed it, can win the race to sell it a second time. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think General Motors made a catastrophic mistake, killing the Volt when it did? Or was it just a car ahead of its time, in the wrong moment? And would you actually buy a range-extended truck or SUV over a pure electric one, or over a regular gas vehicle? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And this exact debate is where some of the best videos on this channel come from. If you're new here, MotorZen covers the engineering and the business behind the global car industry, the decisions that decide what actually ends up in your driveway. We don't pick sides between brands or countries, we just follow the story wherever it goes. Subscribe if that's your thing. New videos every other day, no filler. See you in the next one.